So, what episode 3 is about is you chose it. I give you, just like always, I give you on my Facebook pages, I give you 4 options. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but usually 4. And the 4 options, one of the 4 options was got a huge vote over all the other ones. And this is the one that won. And the one that won is episode number 3. And it's about how can you support your older fur kids? This is something that we all have to go through. It's something we've all gone through. And it's just something that's always kind of like in the back of our mind with our relationships with our animals. So, what I wanted to do was I wanted to give you some natural and then some practical things that you can do that's going to make your animal's golden years shine. Okay. And I want to thank everybody for joining, for listening in, for watching both on YouTube and listening to the podcast and watching the Facebook episodes. It all means a lot. And I'm glad it's helping so many people. So, here are some natural things that you can do. All right. The first thing is, and you know I'm a big proponent of this, so we're going to go right straight for it. CBD oil. All right, giving it now as opposed to when their symptoms start. Because what you have to understand is, and you can watch that episode from last season, number 40, was all on CBD oil. But my knowledge about it, now that I'm managing a store, a CBD store, is much more intensive than it was back then. And that was only a few months ago, or actually, yeah, close to a few months ago. Anyway, so let me explain. What we have in our bodies, both animal and people, is we have something called CBD receptors. These are receptors that are acting as kind of like sponges. And what these sponges are seeking out is they're seeking out the beneficial implications and materials from the hemp plant, whether it's THC, which is what I call the woo-woo factor, that's what makes you high, or just CBD in general. All right. They're seeking it out. And these CBD receptors, CBD1 and CBD2, they're all in our bodies. They're all over. They're just not in like the bloodstream. They're in the bloodstream. They're in different organs. They're in your mouth. They're in your immune systems. They're in your brain. They're all over. So all these little sponges, we are basically pre-attuned to CBD, to hemp, to THC. Now, I'm not going to tell everybody go out and smoke pot. It's not about that. It's about CBD. We have these sponges in our bodies, and they're looking to suck it up every single time we take this stuff in so that we can benefit from it. So I am a big proponent of it, as you know. So I believe that starting now, as opposed to waiting until they're already older, why not start them now? Because what it is that it gives them this overall feeling of well-being. It supports their well-being. So starting them now will help them later on, because then it's going to be built up all in their bloodstream. And by the time they get older, they're going to, be sailing through, acting like a pup again when they're 10, 12, 15, 20 years old. So starting them on CBD now before they even show signs. Or you could certainly start them, if they are showing signs, start them right away. And the thing of it is that it's not about giving them a full dropper. It's less is more with this stuff. So cats usually need, depending on how big they are, they usually need maybe 5, 6, maybe 7 drops at the most. Dogs, depending on how big they are, you're talking, if a small dog around the same thing as a cat, then you're talking medium-sized dog, you're talking maybe probably, 10 to 12 drops. Then you're talking to the bigger dogs, I would go 20 to 25 drops. But again, that's the most of that is, depending on the milligrams, is a half a dropper. You don't have to blow through it by giving them a full dropper right off the bat. They might not need that. So CBD oil. Another thing that you can do that's natural are flower essences. Now, there's a lot of flower essences out there. All right. And again, I'm a big proponent of flower essences. You all know this. They are essentially just flowers that have been set in water and then set in the sun for a certain amount of time. What happens is the vibration of the flowers starts vibrating the water, and they start leaching into the water. And the sun kind of acts like a solar panel, and the sun acts like a solar panel or a catalyst, and the flowers are the solar panel, and the water is the result. So the water starts vibrating at the same level as the flower essences. Two flower essences that are great for older fur kids is, and it's a long one, so don't get intimidated, but it's called Scleranthus, and it's Scleranthus. Scleranthus. Scleranthus is for physical, mental, and emotional stability. So if they're having a problem with not feeling secure because of arthritis or something else like that, Scleranthus has been known to help them gain their emotional well-being and their mental well-being and their physical well-being, and help stabilize the body physically. The other one that you can get, and there's two of them, so there's the second one, is rock water. Rock water is for flexibility, not only mentally, not only emotionally, but physical flexibility. So when you give Scleranthus, which is going to make them more stable, and you give them flexibility with the rock water, what that does is, putting that together, it gives them stable flexibility. It makes the body easier to move. It gives them the ability to stand and be and just move in a easier, gentler way. The flower essences, usually I tell people, do not ever, either with the CBD oil or with the flower essences, please don't put a glass dropper in your baby's mouth, okay? It doesn't make sense. What could happen is, who knows? They can move their head and the glass breaks. I mean, just don't do it. The best way to give CBD is usually in their wet food or on a cookie. You could put the drops on a treat and give them to them that way. It's the same way with the flower essences, but the flower essences, don't put it in the mouth. What you do with the flower essences is, the water is the best catalyst. If you need to, okay, because it's made from water. So water works well in water. If you don't want to give it to them in water, then put it on their dry food. That's another way to do it, okay? So moving on. So another thing that you can do for animals, your older fur kids, acupuncture. Acupuncture stimulates the blood flow in the body as well as the energetic chi. It helps as we go through life. We start getting depleted. Not all of us, but some of us, usually we start feeling depleted. And that's because our energy is chugging along. Well, if you do acupuncture for your fur baby, what happens is that starts getting the blood going, it starts getting the blood flowing, and it starts getting the energies and the chakras and the chi realigned. So it'll help them balance, it'll help them feel better. Massage therapy. If you can do massage therapy for your animal, either you do it or get somebody else to do it. But again, it's circulation. It circulates the blood. It gets the blood circulating to the muscles, to the joints, to all this kind of stuff, and it starts making them feel better. Another thing that you could do for cognitive dysfunction is, there's something called medium chain triglycerides, MCT. Now, this improves brain energy, all right? It helps them think better. It helps them stay clearer in their mind. It reduces protein buildup that causes brain lesions in elderly dogs. So MCT oil basically is coconut oil. It's oil that you could put into the refrigerator, and you know how coconut oil usually solidifies? This will not solidify. A lot of CBD oil, the catalyst for the CBD oil is MCT oil. So giving them and mixing that up in their food, I'm always prescribing that to a lot of my clients. So give that. Grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil is fantastic. I wish they made grapes with seeds in them. I don't know what idiot thought to take the seeds out, but you can't find grapes anymore with seeds in them. The benefit of grape seed oil is that it clears out the free radicals in the body. The free radicals are stuff that gets stuck to the cells, kind of like Velcro. These things get stuck and they start eating away at the cells. So what this does is it breaks up the free radicals and it restores the cells so that they can start restoring and rebalancing themselves. Essentially, what it does is grapeseed oil is it basically it in a nutshell it gives the cells the ability to recharge and restore themselves and to get back to normal. Essentially, turning back the clock a little bit. So the next thing that I want to tell you is something that I prescribe to a lot of my clients. What this is that it is called Immune Boost. I found this a few years ago. What this is it was originally made for animals, dogs, they say dogs, but cats can take it too, dogs who were going through chemotherapy. Now, if there is anything that is going to tax somebody's or some being's immune system, it's going to be chemotherapy, okay? This is the worst you can do for your immune system. Now, of course, you need to do it, but I'm just saying your immune system is hit and it's taxed and it's hit bad. So what they did was they made this they're drops, and you can find it at www.petwellbeing.com. Just type in Immune Boost and you'll find it. Anyone that gets older, all right, any being that gets older, our immune system gets more and more taxed. The longer we're here, the more taxed it gets, unless you start doing stuff about it. So that can start to happen. So what they discovered and put together this thing, especially for animals who are going through chemotherapy. Ingredients: echinacea, Unithanos, I believe it is, golden seal. They have elderberry, licorice root, and here's the big thing: they have prolapse resin. What this is the money right here. What this is this comes from the beehives. This is the resin that comes from the beehives. So it's basically essential. You might have heard it called, I think it's called bee something. I can't remember what it was. I'm drawing a blank. But queen bee pollen or something, bee pollen. But this is the stuff. This has been known to be, to take away like stuff that, again, free radicals that are in the body, but also it's an antimicrobial. It takes the yuck, the fungus, the mold, the crap out of the body. And then there's ginger. It's a great thing to do. And again, you can start them on the Immune Boost as they get older, probably in their mid, times, and then keep on going into their elder years. It might be something that you might want to look into, but it's a great thing. And I've had a lot of clients say that they love it. Another thing that you can do is a good probiotic. A good probiotic is going to a good probiotic is going to get that gut good again, okay? And people think that that's not important, but a healthy gut is great for both the immune and digestive systems, okay? It keeps them working at their best. Now, a lot of elder animals go through kidney troubles. So some kidney strengtheners that you can find is to increase kidney urinary efficiency and help strengthen the mucous membranes in the urinary tract are things like dandelion leaf tea, nettles, cleavers, or parsley leaf tea. Now, what you could do is you could basically take the parsley, I would suggest organic, take the parsley, wash it. Then what you could do is just throw it in a pot, throw some water in there, boil up the fresh leaves and make parsley water. And then what you could do is you could put the water into either their food or into their water itself. Usually I tell people to put it in the water because you want to make sure, you want it to stay as consistent and non gummed up and gunked up as possible. So I just throw everything into the water, and you throw it into the water till it just shows that it starts darkening, because the parsley tea, if you make it with dried leaves, it's going to turn darker. So what you do is you just put enough in so it just starts to turn the water dark. This can be done every day. You could do this every other day. You could do this. I think for this kind of stuff, what we're talking about is consistency is key. You know, you got to be consistent with this stuff. You're consistent with it. You get into it what you put into it. You get out what you put into it. So another thing that goes that is a big problem for a lot of fur kids is cataracts. So if you get into the habit of, I have, my girl Sacred has got gunky eyes, a lot of gunky eyes. My other cats, I've never had cats who had gunky eyes before. So I'll be honest, yeah, I'm a little crazy about it. So I constantly clean her eyes. Not all the time. I'm not there all the time like grandma with the tissue and I'm not doing that. But I am cleaning her eyes once a day. I just make sure her eyes are nice and clean. Clean eyes, happy eyes. However, okay, there's also a natural treatment. It's called Eye Bright. Eye, like eye, bright, okay? Now you can get these in drops that you can put in the eye. You can get them in drops that you can put in the food, or you can also get it in capsule form if you need to. Okay. And Eye Bright is great. It's a homeopathic solution, of course, and these homeopathic eye drops can be purchased, like I said, commercially. If you make it yourself, all right, or you get like you make a mother tincture, which is basically what everything else is derived from. Make sure you dilute it. But Eye Bright is great it's been known to dissolve and also prevent cataracts. So what's on the practical side? That was the natural side. That's some things that you can do naturally. What can you do practically that'll help your fur kid, all right, have a better life? Add non-slip rugs to the hardwood floors. Okay, we've all seen the animals slipping around, all right, and they feel unstable. Imagine it's kind of like you putting on ice skates and walking around your house. Now, what happens with that is, or putting on ice skates, if you're like me, just putting on ice skates and trying to skate, okay, it's not pretty. What happens is that they become, they're unsure. They're more and more unsure. And what happens is that if they start slipping, they're not going to be moving. They're going to be afraid to move. So non-slip rugs will be great solution to that, all right? And you don't want to limit their movement. You want to keep them going. The more they move, the more blood they get to the joints, the more they feel better. So keep them going up and help them get up. Find a bed, a really good bed, not like a cheapo bed, okay? And I understand, I got some cheapo beds here, all right? They're cute, the cats like them. But when my cats start to get older, I'm going to go for the orthopedic beds because they need them. They need that stability. You can't just say to yourself, oh, well, they've always been okay. They're always going to be okay. The bed, it's just like you. The better the bed, the better you sleep. It's for achy bones, too. So get them a good bed and make an investment, all right? Steps to help them get to their favorite place. As they get older, the animals don't want to move. They're scared to move. They don't think they can make it, and they miss their favorite spots. Get some steps. Don't even do steps if you want to. If you want to go the decorative route, do shelves in forms of steps. Okay, so then what they could do is if you got a cat, of course, or a small dog. If you got a bigger dog, get the steps. But you know what I'm talking about. So if you want to get it decorative, then just get the shelves and put them up. Like catify your house. Make it nice. Make it pretty. Chilly animals. Now, just like the older people do, we all have seen them. Okay, the older people, they gotta get they got their little sweaters on, and they got because they get chill over here, and we've all seen that. Okay, heck, some of them might be that. I mean, I know I get chilled on my back, but the thing of it is that just like people, older animals get cold. Their blood isn't circulating as much as it was. So what happens is that it starts going. So what can you do in order to get them going? Get them a sweater. Get them a little onesie, if it's a little dog. Get them, a big coat, a nice coat. Just remember that just because they've always been okay doesn't mean they're going to be. So try to prevent that, because the more that they're chilled and their blood isn't circulating, the harder it's going to be for them to regulate their body heat. So another thing you could do is, and I know this is going to be challenging for me when my cats get older, because I love rearranging my furniture. I love it. I love it. I love bringing the energy in and stuff, but avoid changing the furniture and keep your floor clutter free. Now, the reason being is that as an animal gets older, their hearing is going, their smell is going, their sight is going. They rely more on memory. And if you keep changing up the furniture, or if you keep keeping crap all over the floor, it becomes like this landmine for them. It's kind of like, it's kind of like inviting Stevie Wonder over to your house and just, inviting him in and not showing him around. All right, you're pretty much on your own, Stevie. Sorry. So just keep your houses clutter free and stop moving around the furniture, because they need that consistency. The other thing that I tell people is when I do an animal communication session. Now, it doesn't have to be with me. The reason being is when I connect to an animal who is elderly or older or an elder, what happens is that I get a sense for them where they are in their journey of the final destination, so to say. So there's sometimes that, and people aren't sure. Are they getting ready to go? He's getting older. What does this mean? So what happens is it's kind of like akin to going on a trip. I get this energetic feeling. I can't describe it. It's just like a Warner Brothers cartoon in my head sometimes. It's very interesting. But what happens is that I get a sense for where they are in their journey to the last destination. Now, there's different phases of a trip. There's the not even realizing that you want to go, getting tired, but not really realizing you want to go yet. That's really the start. Then there's looking through the brochures. I'm not really sure where I'm going to go. Then it's like you start looking through and you make your plans. Then you realize you need to find out the clothes you need to wear. And it becomes this whole different step. And the last one and the final one, of course, being they have their hat and coat on. They've got their suitcases packed and they're by the door and their hands on the door and they're ready to go. So doing a thing and just doing a general check-in. How are they doing? How are they feeling in their body? Are they in pain? Is there something I need to know? This is a really great way for you to start to take care of them as well. The other thing is when my heart cat PC was transitioning, I really thought I was prepared. And to a certain extent, I was. But then she transitioned and I realized I wasn't prepared. But I did stuff that later on, I was so glad I did. So here's some things that I did. What I did was I made a scrapbook of photographs that mean a lot to me, and I decorated the scrapbook, and I still have it to this day, and I look through it. It's different than looking through photographs on your phone. It's that's a detached thing. And also, when you're making a scrapbook, it's And this was done quite a few years before PC was sick. But I just did it because I just felt like this need, and it was almost like this really beautiful, like I would I would put the pictures and decorate them. It was a very physical way of coming to grips with what was coming. Okay, and again, this was years before she passed. But I look on that book every once in a while, and I don't even have to open it up. I look at that book, and I'm looking at it now, and it gives me comfort. The other thing I did that I was so happy I did was I actually took a recording of PC purring, and I have that to this day. And I play it sometimes when I need to go to sleep or just when I'm missing her. I'm going to get emotional. And it helps, It just, again, it's just a little way for you to leave these little presents for yourself. Take a picture of them, take a recording of them sleeping or snoring or barking or something else like that there. Okay, so that was a little thing I did. Last and not least, and I know I've gone on a little bit longer than I usually intended to do, but last but not least, accept it and don't reject it. Now, I know people say, I accepted it, I'm accepting it, I understand it's coming. But again, doing these little things before they leave, way before they leave even, so that you can remember these happier times. I remember when I took that recording of PC purring. I remember she was laying on my chest. We were living in Germany. She was laying on my chest. It was one day when we just was taking a siesta, and I felt so at peace with her. I just wanted to record that moment. So it's a way of you kind of like accepting that it's happening. You gotta accept it. And I understand we don't want to look at it until it's happening. But understand that this is not a bad thing, them getting older. It's a good thing. It's actually, you brought them to this moment. You brought them to them being able to be alive on this earth and experience this earth with you for however many years. So it's something to be celebrated. It's not something to be like, oh my God, I can't believe he's 10 years old. It's like, I understand that's kind of like you trying to accept it, but it's also you trying to push it away a little bit too. So just understand that this is a part of life. Understand that it's part of your relationship with your animals and that it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. Okay? Don't try to stuff it. Don't try to pretend it doesn't happen. Just understand this is just a part of it, but deal with it. Just deal with it and don't be frightened of it because it's a beautiful thing. So if anybody's got any questions, anybody's got any comments they'd like to say, it's wonderful to see you all. Thank you for joining, Sharon and Joyce and Elizabeth and everybody else who was watching. So if anybody's got a question or anything they'd like to say, feel free to write it down. And what I can also do is if I don't see it here, I will answer it at the end of the show. So that's some tips that you can do for your older animals. I hope that helped. I hope that it gives you some things that you feel like you can do that empower you so you can help empower your animals. And what I want to say, though, is any questions or comments I will actually take at the end afterwards. But I want to thank you all for joining me for this month's episode of The Animal Experience. I also want to thank your continued support of The Animal Experience. It has been, and it still is, an amazing journey. And until the next time, I'm wishing you and your animals the very best and a month of wonderful, inspiring experiences.